like just QR, okay, you would end up having to own the software.
Right, like a modifier or something.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Right.
The interesting thing, and let me just, I'll finish that thought, because what's interesting about this is it's Microsoft. They're looking at it from a very corporate perspective. Stop and think about the fact that they've got a gajillion terabytes of server processing, so that the interesting thing is you put this into the New York Times, you put this in a major paper, you're going to get, 2 million hits on a Sunday morning between 8 o'clock and noon, which is, when everybody's reading their Sunday paper. They've got the wherewithal to be able to receive that much, to break it out, to give you the analytics. Key point, Microsoft owns the information. They sell you a copy of it. Does that make sense? Okay? Why, now, everybody's like, whoa, Big Brother, listen, let me put it this way to you. You sign up for Facebook, they're doing exactly the same thing. You sign up for Google, they're doing exactly the same thing. How do you think Google makes its money? It's tracking you the whole time. From the time you do a search, where you go, how long you're on, what you link through, they grab all of those analytics and they sell it. That's why they're Google. Does that make sense? So it's like, I feel like my privacy's been, please, get over it. It's been happening everywhere all the time, But here's the interesting thing, it's Microsoft. So they have got huge teams of people who are constantly upgrading, updating. They're trying to refine the process, and if you want, you can work with them, particularly if you are a large corporation. You can work with them to say, these really are the metrics that are important to me. These are the analytics. I'm trying to see if they come to this site, I'm going to give them 5, 6, 7 links. I'm very interested in which links, where they're going, and more importantly, I'm trying to and let's be realistic, I'm trying to see what is the pull through to a cell. Because I have one link that takes them to information. I have one link that takes them to a storefront. And while they're in that storefront, they're going to be going around, they're going to be looking at products, and they're going to be putting things in their carts, and hopefully they're going to be buying. I want to know. Not only that, I've got partners, and I want to know what credit card are they using. Or are they using PayPal, or whatever. Does that make sense? Because you're really trying to find out as much as you can about your audience to refine your own marketing program. Okay? They have the potential, they have all of that in place. It's pricey, but if you are a large corporation or if you are a medium-sized business that's looking for a lot of activity and you don't want to buy that software or use an outside group, they're terrific. Okay? But you have to realize that the data resides in Microsoft servers and they are selling you a copy. Okay? As opposed to you do business with a company like Scanline. You call them up. Yes, please, I'm sorry.
What's the difference between what Microsoft will provide you at a cost and
Yeah.
Google Analytics?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I mean, Google Analytics, you're paying the price, but the fact of it is, you've got to work closely with Google. I mean, Google Analytics, if you're getting the information, it's a capture, okay? It's not necessarily focused, as focused as you would like, and the reports are good, they're not great. The reports here are great.
So it's more functional.
Yeah. If you work with a company like Scanline, what's the difference? Is that you custom build the program. So the first thing they're going to ask you is, how many scans are we looking at? 25,000 scans, 250,000 scans, 2.5 million scans. They're going to have to figure out what size server that you want. And then you work with a representative where they're going to ask you, who's your target audience? What's the demographics? What are the psychographics? What are you looking at? What are you trying to capture? Are you looking to see click-throughs? How long? Sometimes you get click-throughs, but you don't necessarily know how long they stay. In the case of somebody like Microsoft, they'll tell you they clicked through and they stayed for 2.5 minutes because they found a more relevant link that they went to where they stayed a long time. Or they went to that storefront and they stayed there a very long time because they were shopping. By the way, it didn't result in a sell, but we now are able to, if they go back to that storefront, we will know and we'll let you know that they came back at a later time. So that kind of analytics are really, really important. when we start thinking about QR codes, we have to understand, again, singularly, we are looking at multi-channel marketing. We are looking at really the integrated marketing process really being addressed. Does that make sense? Okay? So it can be as simple as click, here's my contact information story. Or, you know, I'm going to take you to my microsite, and I have got software built into that microsite because I have defined and determined what it is that I want to know about you. And I don't need this much information. This might be overkill, you know. The nice thing about this is it's very customized, it's very tailored. Cool? So, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the concept that this is, and the best way for us to really sort of address this is, what are QR codes? They are a print to online facilitation tool. Okay? Because in fact, let's be honest, in the new marketing model, it is 360-degree client penetration with as many touch points as possible. I already have you in print. Now I want to take you to my online experience. And if I have designed my online experience well, I can guide you. I can guide you to a storefront, I can guide you to a dashboard, I can take you just for informational information, you know, informational sites. And I can also, by the way, get you to order more print. Or have you contact, you know, one of my folks through an 800 number. Would you like us to contact you? Yes, I would. Click, done. Now we are continuing the experience. Okay? So when we look at it that way, it obviously, I don't know enough about your businesses specifically, but if we were to sit down, we would say, let's talk about all of the different aspects that you have, all the channels you have available. How do we get your customers to them all so that they have that sort of larger client experience and feel like it's a rich experience? Because ultimately, it all lays down to either I want you to believe in me as a company, credibility, or I want you to buy my product. I mean, that's all there is to it. So, yeah, please.
Quick question.
Yeah, no.
You may address this later.
Yeah.
But usually when we talk about web analytics,
Yes.
we talk about the software that's going to track down page views,
Yes.
users.
Yes, absolutely.
But we don't have necessarily all the information that apparently QR codes offer. Is that
Oh,
right? I mean,
Yeah.
is there that big of a difference?
There's a huge difference, and I think that's when we start talking about Google Analytics, they're going to give you sort of the superficial, this is what happened, this is what they did, that kind of stuff. In this case, you can start really saying, how long were they on my storefront? You know, did they go to a certain product, did they come back, did they go to another product, how many products did they view? Which ones did they spend the most time on? You know?
And you said you pay a price for
You
that.
pay a price for that, certainly. Because the truth of it is, when you stop and think of it, you know, I make this comment in another seminar, and I think it's very true. You know, market research, for the most part, is relatively easy to do. You pay a price, you get the information. That's not the tough stuff. Analyzing the data is hugely important. What you do with the information, how you view it, in many cases, starts to make you ask more questions. You know, oh, well, they went to this site. And invariably, somebody on your team goes, well, that's great. How long were they there? I don't know. We know that they went there. Did they do anything while they were there? No, well, we know that they clicked through. Well, did they click through right away, or did they really spend a bunch of time?
The QR codes answer these questions.
Well, not the QR code, the software,
The software
and the analytics capturing does, yes, if that's what you want. Please.
So the Microsoft metrics, is it a tiered pricing about what kind of data you want, or is it kind of, here's a
No.
lump sum and then
Lump
you just
sum.
dump it all to you?
Yeah, lump sum,
to you?
yeah, that's the thing. The truth of it is, can you refine it? Yes. I mean, if you're gonna put a QR code in the Sunday New York Times, I really don't care about Thursday. I really care about Sunday, Monday only, and I'm really interested in from 5 o'clock in the morning through Sunday night, because that's how long it takes usually for somebody to get through the paper. You know, but after that, it's no longer relevant. So you can create the relevancy aspect of it yourself. So everybody knows how it works, right? I mean, we don't have, you've got this look on your face and you've had for a while, so out with it.
I was just wondering if you have multiple communications on that, but you want all those to go to that one site, is there a way where you can differentiate what's driving that person to the site based on what they're reading? To know what those are successful pieces?
Yeah, good question.
I couldn't hear it.
Could you repeat the question louder?
If you have multiple pieces going out,
Yes.
and you want all of those people to be driven to the same site.
Right.
In that reporting aspect,
Yeah.
you have a way of
Yeah.
differentiating.
So the question was well, here's the interesting thing. I can use the same QR code in a variety of publications, and it's going to take you to the same service site. Yes, but more interesting from my perspective is I would probably create very unique QR codes for each of those publications, because in my mind, those might be completely different demographics. And that's exactly what I may want to prove. And then ultimately, having proven that, I can continue that course of action, or, to your point, I realize I don't need to, I can use one QR code that drives everybody to that place. But if I want to see what the hit rate is for certain publications in terms of this demographic really likes using QR codes in this publication, or this came from my direct mail piece, and I got a huge response from the direct mail piece and not a great response from the magazine, or vice versa, that is very insightful. So, I'm not going to bore you with, why do we want to use it? First and foremost, there's nothing greater than being able to use a QR code in an area where you've got very little print real estate. Does that make sense? So, perfect example. Small real estate, I could, and I've got to tell you something. I mean, I've been a graphic designer for over 30 years, okay? All right, it's good skin, good genes. I have had to read, honest to God, I have had to read 4 and 5 point type almost all my life. It pissed me off then, it still pisses me off now, okay? The idea that you've got this little tiny space and you're trying to put all of this stuff in here does not make sense. And if you've noticed, it worked great when we had this format, but now what you notice is people are trying to get all of this information and they just run it as one line, okay? And then so they make the word sugar bold, so that now it's 4-point bold. Please, what are we kidding ourselves? And here's the other thing, that creates client frustration, all right? If I could train my clients to understand, first of all, I will give them all the information that they want and more. You're at the store, and again, one of the things you're going to hear me emphasize strongly, singularly one of the most powerful tools. QR codes and augmented reality codes are singularly one of the most powerful point of sale, point of purchase tools you have. The way I want you to think about it is, if I was there and I was going to whisper into your ear, what would I be saying? Okay? So the first thing I want to give you is the data, right? But the second thing I want to give you is something like, oh, by the way, this was processed in a plant that processes peanuts. Does that make sense? Or all of the ingredients for this product were purchased and sourced fair trade. I'm aware of that, it's important to me, I know that it's important to you. Does that make sense? Okay? So now I can start having a marketing conversation. I can actually up this game very dramatically. If you like this product, here's a link, click through and you can see all the other products we make. I can even take it farther than that. If you like this product, click on it, and I will show you all of the locations where this product is sold based on your geolocation. Does that make sense? Because I want you to buy it, and I want you to know that it's sold everywhere. It's not just at this high-priced store. Because it always happens. I mean, I find this great product, and somebody's saying, "Oh, that's really fabulous. Where did you buy it?" "Well, I bought it at this is a really expensive grocery store."